Welcome back. Another episode of Post-Fades Cheesesteaks. Back with another top 10 players of 2024. This episode will be edge rushers. So we are combining outside linebackers that rush the passer, as well as defensive ends that rush the passer. We have myself, Timothy, and Big Mike. Happy to be joined by you again, doing your first top 10. Are you excited? Pressure's on.
Yeah, man, I'm sweating right now. No, it's always a pleasure to be back with you guys, and I'm always happy to be on my favorite sports
Hey, you
Philly
got to make us
sports.
blush.
He's lying.
Philly Philly sports.
Hey, we
Which
love
Oh,
is
it.
okay.
really just the
It's a
birds.
good one to be on it because I think this is the first time we've ever combined edge rushers, which we should have done from the beginning because I feel like it's always just been
Yeah.
a disaster.
Yeah, because one
We
of
spent
us will
like half
put
the episode
someone in one
debating
and
whether this person is actually.
but we digress. So as always, we have the actually this is our first guest episode. I just realized that, Tim. So that's pretty exciting.
Oh, that's fun.
And as per our guest episodes, the guest always goes first. So we start off, we do honorable mentions, Mike. So if you have any honorable mentions who just missed your top 10 list, feel free to give them now. If you don't like participation trophies or fun, you don't have to have any. So
Yeah, I think honorable mention when I think of the edge position, um, honorable mention that would probably just miss the list for me would probably be Daniil Hunter, who is now a Houston Texan. I
interesting.
love Daniil. He's not too old. I think that he adds some needed depth at the edge position for Houston. They went out and got an older guy because they already have an absolute stud in Will Anderson Jr. And I think he's only going to go up from there. He didn't make the list or the honorable mention for me yet, just because he's coming off of his rookie season. Did
Hmm.
win Defensive Rookie of the Year, which I thought was a snub, from good old Jalen
Jalen.
Carter, but
Yeah.
given the way
Yeah.
that he performed in the second half of the season, I get it. Um, but I think the Neil Hunter makes the honorable mention list for me.
Okay.
I I'm surprised to see. I mean, he like 16 and a half sacks, you think would at least get you in the top 10. But I mean,
Yeah.
he was a
Starting
tricky
off with some
one.
hot
He
takes. I like it.
well, he's tough because he missed like 2 years of football. So I was in the same boat. Like I didn't know really where to put him. He's great when he plays, but he literally misses like entire seasons by the regular.
Mm.
That's what got me, honestly, is the missed time, and then the other guys that I just would put in the top 10 ahead of him. I'm just like, I can't. If I have to leave somebody out, it's gonna be him. And when you'll
Fair
see
enough.
that, I'm sure that we'll see that when we start to talk about some of these other absolute studs that we got here.
Hmm.
Fair enough.
Slight tease, he may have made my list, so I won't say anything, but
He did make my list as well.
okay.
He is the ultimate. You hear a lot of boom and bust when you talk about draft prospect. This guy's the ultimate boom or bust. By either he's going to having a near career ending injury that costs him the entire season, or he's going to go out there and have like 15 sacks. Like he never like sprains an ankle or like pulls a hammy. He always breaks a vertebrae or chops
Yeah.
his neck in half. It's always something very significant.
Yeesh.
Okay. All right, Tim, who's your honorable menchies?
So mine, I went with two veteran guys.
Oh,
One, one's like it's weird. One's like someone I love that's left me, and then the other one is someone I hated that now I'm kind of going to love, and I don't know why.
okay.
Shout out to
Go on,
Howie
why?
Roseman because Hassan Reddick it looks like it's about to be a disaster with the Jets. So he is the honorable mention.
Yeah, he
Down
might
year
not even
last year,
play.
but I mean the whole
Yeah.
defense was down. But yeah, I got to give Howie credit. Like when he knows he doesn't want to sign a guy or he knows he's not going to pay him, like he moves on. He doesn't get in battles. He doesn't get into drama. He just
Yeah.
moves on. He doesn't try to like penny pinch. But Hassan Reddick doesn't. He doesn't deserve to be penny pinched. The guy's played really well. He deserves a big deal. Came in at my honorable mention spot because that been really dominant. And then I don't know why, but Montez Sweat is growing on me quite a bit. I
Oh, he's
liked
with
him
the
when he went to
Bears
the
now,
Bears.
so yeah.
Yeah, obviously I hated him with the Redskins, but I like him with the Bears. He plays a nice role. He's physical. He's good against the run. I think he's a really good player. He's someone I think with a better team around him, like the Bears, I think will make a jump this year. He could be a real problem, especially if they can score some points and he can get
Mm.
after quarterbacks. I like him jumping up in the top 10. But those are my two honorable mentions right now.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I
I
had
like Montez
Sweat.
Sweat.
Yeah, I think I had Sweat in my top 10 DNs last year. But now that we obviously combined them, he's in that top 15 of edge rushers, I would say. He's up there. But
Yeah,
this
you could
is one
definitely
of
see the
those.
difference in
What's
Chicago's
that?
defense when he joined. I think you could
Oh
really see a
yeah.
difference in their
Yeah, he
defense
stepped
when he
up.
came on.
He was happy to get out
They
of
Oh
needed
Washington.
yeah.
that presence.
He was one of those like I mean I know I was. I think universally everyone was like, "What are you doing? Like this is not a good deal. You're not very
Yeah.
good. You can sign this guy in free agency. Why are you trading to get him and then sign him to a whole bunch of money?" But I mean,
Mm.
listen, a player like that, like do what you got to do. You locked in a stud on
Yeah.
defense. You might have traded from him instead of sign him, but who cares? You got him.
Yeah.
Sure.
So this was a tough list for me, so I had to hit him. We had Mike had one, Tim had two, so naturally I'm gonna have three honorable mentions, but I'll be quick.
Of course.
Um, the one who I guess you would call him number 11, uh, I would say he beat the one hit wonder allegations coming out of New Orleans when Cincinnati gave him a big contract. So we got Trey Hendrickson here, just missing the list. I think he's done wonders for that defense. He's been consistent, which is huge. Um,
So
a
much
player that
disrespect. I don't get it. Like I when I looked into this more and more, I'm like, wow, why doesn't he get more love? I gave him love, but it's just so much disrespect.
well, here's some
Yeah,
more
it's a name I forgot
disrespect.
about, honestly,
Here's
as I
some
was
more
thinking about these
disrespect
guys.
for a future Hall of Famer. Khalil Mack not making my list. Um,
Uh, won't
I
fight
he's
you.
33. Last couple years he's been off and on injured, and he had a crazy good year last year. Um, but the Chargers are a mess. They're a little bit of a soft rebuild right now. Um, so I don't see him being as down as he was last season, and I think a lot of his stats were inflated also. Like he had one game with like 4 sacks, I think. Um, but yeah, I think he's still a beast. He'll be a future Hall of Famer, but right now I don't think he's just outside our top 10. And then another older, recently injured player, Matt Judon from the Patriots, I think coming off a season-end injury last year, and he's 32. Again, another team that's kind of a mess. So kind of had him just missing the list as well, but also a great player, a great leader. So that's my honorable mentions.
Fair enough. I agree with you on Mac. I also didn't have him on my list.
Okay.
Uh, I think it's more of just it's a deep position. There's a lot
It
of good
is.
talent, so I felt actually pretty comfortable keeping off the list.
Okay. All right. Mr. Rodriguez, would you like to crack open number 10? What do you got?
Okay, so we're starting all the way at 10.
Well, 10 is like, the last of your list. And number one is obviously the best player on your list.
Gotcha.
If
All
you
right.
if you did that order correctly. So I don't want to hear Miles
Gotcha.
Garrett
So,
at number 10 or I'm kicking you off.
all right. I'm glad to know that at least we can agree that the name that you just mentioned, which we'll talk about, is number one. Anyway,
He's down
I
there, yeah.
digress. Yeah. Number 10, I think I gotta go with Demarcus Lawrence here. Demarcus
Hmm.
Lawrence,
I don't
Demarcus
know.
Lawrence, Demarcus Lawrence on one side of the line with Michael Parsons, he kind of just shows his dominance at the line of scrimmage that you can't just put all your resources and attention on Micah Parsons. You also have to look at Demarcus Lawrence. He's so strong, so fast off the line, and he gets to the quarterback. He has a pretty high win percentage last year and the year before that. So I'm comfortable with saying Demarcus Lawrence is at 10. We're gonna start this off with a little bit of a hot take. To be completely honest with you guys, I thought we were starting at 1. So you caught me a little
No,
off guard, but
we gotta ease
I'm
in.
pretty comfortable. I'm pretty comfortable with saying Demarcus Lawrence, but I'm sure that once we start to dig into it a little bit, maybe you can change my mind.
Mike wanted to launch artillery right
Yeah,
at the beginning of the episode. That's crazy.
yeah.
Slow into it, man.
I don't know about the DeMarcus Lawrence. I'm
If we were
assuming you're
doing top
not a
run
Cowboys fan
stoppers, I'd say sure.
No.
because you do seem like a reasonable, rational human being. But man, I like he's someone I like feel like should I feel like his better years were before Parsons got there, and almost like I feel like he should be better with Parsons on the other side of him. And I don't know. He's a good run
That's an
stopper, but
that's an interesting. I never really thought about that, Tim. Honestly, like because he has been pretty consistently good for a while, but he was definitely like Dallas's number one defender. And then yeah, like you say, he hasn't really gotten better since part. You would think he would, but hmm.
I thought, I mean, like, when he was putting up like 14 and a half, 10 and a half sacks,
Yeah.
17, 18. I mean, he's a younger guy too. He's 32 now, so it's tougher. But
Yeah.
I mean, there's just advantages playing with a
I don't
guy
hate
like
I
Michael
don't hate the pick.
Parsons.
I think it's reasonable. I don't know.
Yeah,
Eh,
I was thinking about it, and all the names that I had in my mind were like top five. Like I could have, I was gonna say maybe Josh Allen, but I think 10 is a little too high. I think he's better than 10. And then you mentioned
agreed.
Trey Hendrickson, which was also in my top 10, but I don't think that he's 10. I think he's higher than 10 as well. So 10 was a
Okay,
tough
okay.
spot for me. You put me in a spot there. But I think that, I'm comfortable saying DeMarcus Lawrence. If he's not 10, he's definitely top 15. Like, we have to at least agree there.
Listen, I'll agree with that. I think the way this list is, it's interesting. Like, I have to think that like 8 to 9 of the players are going to be pretty much all the same. Where maybe like 10 is the only one's different. Like
Yeah.
I like there's just it's a solid like usually there's like 3 or 4 guys that are like on everyone's list like solid. This one's like kind of pretty
I
large in the
think
set elite players.
I think our top five will be exactly the same players, but different order. But I think 6 to 10
I
Yeah.
is
would say
like
so.
wild.
Yeah.
But all right,
And
Tim, who you got
also,
at
I
10?
mean,
Go ahead, Mike.
before you move on, I just remembered Jalen Phillips. I mean, I know that he tore his Achilles, but he looked
Mm.
like he was on the trajectory to have a monster season before the
That injury
injury, and the
was
year before that.
that injury almost ended his career. So
Yeah, yeah, that was
I
terrible.
think
But I mean,
he's
he was
up and coming honorable mention. I think he could definitely be. I mean, they lost Christian Wilkins at the tackle, which I think is going to be a big blow for them. But they do have Chubb coming back from injury.
yeah,
I
they
mean, he didn't
lost him
sniff
too.
my list, but
Yeah,
um,
no,
yeah. So all right, Tim, who's number
I
10?
I'm gonna go with this guy. I'm not gonna lie. I think he's declined on our list since we started doing this, and I'm now in the thinking that he is an overrated player. I think he gets too much love when you factor in he's played for a terrible team his pretty much his entire career, and he's just going to a new terrible team. Like, he had a bad year this year, but I don't know. I'm starting to question. Like, I feel like he was always solid, but we always waited for him to make the real leap to elite status, and I feel like he never did. I'm going with Brian Burns at number 10.
Wow. Okay, I also have Brian Burns at number 10.
Wow, look at that. All right, we're
there
firing
you
all
go.
cylinders. I
Damn,
don't
I
know
don't
if
like
it's like
that.
the fact that I don't know if it's the fact that he's a giant now, so I instantly hate him, but I gotta be honest, I feel like when I was making this list, I was like looking and Burns was on it automatically, and I'm like, wait a minute, like where am I actually gonna put him? And I left him on there at 10, but I really wanted to put Sweat in over him. I don't know. I just feel like we've been waiting for Brian Burns to take the elite step, and he
Hmm.
hasn't. And he's kind of gotten worse. Like, I don't think he's the player that we thought he was.
I think he gets like
Good point.
very,
That's an
very
interesting
close
point.
to like the elite top five status, but he just doesn't. He's not consistent enough.
I just
But
think he's never. I don't feel like he's been there. Like, he's an eight, I think 8 or 10 like sack guy. Like, they had like Derek Brown turned into a player this year. I know the Panthers as a whole sucked, but he's really like never had that big season. Daniel Hunter had a big year. Josh Allen, the guy we're going to talk about, had a big year. Like, he never had that breakthrough season, and I don't know. It's just now you kind of think, all right, maybe he's not an elite guy like that. Maybe he's more of a 10 to 15 guy
I think
instead of
we'll learn
top
a
five.
lot. We'll learn a lot seeing him on the Giants. I think the Giants defense they could either be like surprisingly good or they're just going to be kind of like Burns is overrated type of thing. So we'll see. They got a good line they've kind of put together now.
Yeah.
So
To be fair, that is part of the reason I kept him a top 10. I think him,
yeah,
Thibodeau, and what's his face,
I mean,
Dexter Lawrence
two
could
time Pro
help each
Bowler.
other out. Yeah. But again, I mean, Pro Bowler, but never really elite, all pro, top notch edge rusher kind of guy.
All right. So my 10 was Burns as well. So I don't really have much more to add that you didn't hit on. So Mike, who's your number nine?
Number nine, and I was gonna put this guy actually higher in the list. Well,
Okay.
I don't know if you would say higher or lower, but I was gonna put him closer to maybe top eight. But given that he's still pretty young, but he had such a huge leap from year one to year two, I think he went from a 12% pass rush win rate to a 22% with over 100 QB pressures. I'm gonna go with Aiden Hutchinson, edge
Okay.
out of Detroit. I love how quick he is. He does not give up. He moves around. He's shifty and he's strong as hell. Big guy. And I think that he's only going to get better. I think that he's going to take the leap that everybody thinks Brian Burns is supposed to take in the league.
Hmm. See, and
So I
he's
love Aiden.
confident about that too.
Yeah.
I have him on my list a little higher. But I agree with, I think he's been huge for Detroit, and especially being a number one overall pick. Like he's actually panning out like he's supposed to. He's not a bust, so that's good for them too.
Right. Yeah.
All right. And
What do we got? Number nine. I went with
Number nine.
we already touched on this guy a little bit. I mean, he is the ultimate boomer bust, like I said, but this year was a boom, so I rewarded him by putting him in the top 10. Again, his neck might fall off his spine next year, so who knows? But I like the situation he's in. I like him across Will Anderson. I like him in the D'Amico Ryan's off their defense. He had a huge year, so I got Danielle Hunter at number nine. Um,
okay.
Again, great pass rush specialist. It's just the guy is not healthy enough to consistently say if he just plays more often, yeah, he's a top five guy, easy.
Yeah. All right. I have him
Yeah.
coming
We'll
up
see.
shortly, but yeah.
If he's hurt next year, he'll be off the list. It's just kind of a flip and flop with him.
There you
Sure.
go.
All right, my number nine. Tim, you already alluded to this. He's on a new team, but doesn't sound like he's gonna play because there's still out of a contract dispute. He hasn't been to any of the training camps or OTAs, so um, Temple alum, loved him in his 2 years in Philly. Hassan Reddick here, number nine. He has dropped off. I mean, the year before he had 16 sacks when they went to the Super Bowl. This past year he had 11. Um, I think he had a slow start to the year because of that. I think he had a broken hand or whatever. He had a cast on his hand. Um, so he got off to a slow start, but phenomenal pass rusher. A little bit of a liability in the run stopping, but and then I mean it fell apart when you had Matt Pencil Patricia put him in coverage linebacker, so that didn't work out well for him either. So
Yeah, surprisingly,
uh,
it didn't catch anyone off by surprise there.
yeah, like
So
oh,
does
Hassan
he
Reddick is playing safety. What the fuck are we doing?
does he still kind of reclaim like Homer status with you because he went to Temple? Because I think nine is kind of generous for him. But I know he was a former
I
Eagle,
mean,
so I know how
no,
you are with your Eagles.
no, generally speaking, like genuine pass rushers, he's still up there. I mean, he gets the job done. He was like top five on our list last year. So I mean, to drop him down to nine is pretty significant, I'd say. Um, I don't know. I don't think it's being a homer. Honestly, if I was being a homer, I would kick him off the list for working his way out of Philly. But
Well, that's what I mean. Well, he is a Temple Owl, so I don't know if that brought him back to the list.
nah,
Help his Homer status.
Temple football is garbage. You think I care about that? Anyways, number eight, Mr. Michael.
Number eight, we talked about this guy a little bit already, but I
Okay.
still think that at his big age of 32 or
Mm,
33, Khalil Mack definitely deserves
okay.
to be up there.
I can
If not
respect
for
it.
anything, then just for the kind of career that he's had and how he's still doing it at a very high level. He's still really good against the run, and he can still get to the quarterback. And those numbers are pretty inflated, like you said. I'm pretty sure he had a four or five sack game. And at one point, the Chargers weren't really playing for anything. and he was still getting his numbers and getting those stats, doing some stat padding. But I still really love Khalil Mack, and I think that he's gonna have maybe one or two more good seasons before he hangs it up. So I'm comfortable with putting him at 8.
Okay.
Fair enough. I like that.
Yeah, no arguments. A legend.
So my number 8. Now I'm gonna paint you a picture here. Hear me out.
Okay, Picasso.
Hear me out, but the next player on my list, I'm gonna compare to LeBron James. And honestly, I mean,
Okay.
I'll take suggestions from the crowd, but LeBron James is the only person that could pop up in my mind when I thought of this guy.
This is for your number 8 guy.
Correct.
Okay.
He's basically, I mean, him and LeBron James are very similar.
Okay.
So
is it LeBron James is your number 8 edge rusher?
No.
He could probably do it.
So my number 8 guy is young guy, very high draft pick like LeBron James.
Okay.
Came to play for his hometown team like LeBron James.
Okay, I know where you're going.
And is transformed the franchise like LeBron James. Now, there is other parts to this transformation, but football is a team sport, basketball isn't.
Okay.
But the resurgence in the Detroit Lions culture and relevance in football ties in pretty well to Agent Hutchinson's career. He's a Michigan kid, drafted 2nd overall. Guy is already the city. The city loves him. Like, I mean, if I was a Detroit fan, I'd love him too. I agree with you. I think he's really ready to take the step up too. I think he's a top 5 guy next year if he keeps this up. But I mean, who else you got? It's him and LeBron James. Hometown kids, elite draft status, elite hype, goes in and delivers to dog shit franchises before they get there. I mean, this is the best I've ever seen the Lions. The Cavaliers were irrelevant until LeBron showed up. Aiden Hutchinson and LeBron James, they're 1 and 2 of the same people.
It's not. I mean, it's actually not a terrible comparison. So I'll
See?
give you.
No, it's really not.
There you go.
Yeah.
Midwest, if that helps.
Yeah. Born in Michigan, went to school in Michigan.
Now plays in Michigan.
Stays in Michigan.
LeBron was born in Cleveland. He went to high school in Cleveland, then played for Cleveland.
So is Hutchinson going to take his talents to South Beach at some point and then come back and win a chip for the Lions?
I mean, I think it would be tough. I'd really that would hurt. That would hurt. Hutchinson went and played football in Michigan. He seems a little more loyal. LeBron was in high school. He wasn't ready to commit to a college. I don't think he was wifey material then.
Okay. Well, I have him on my list shortly. But my number 8, someone Tim just touched on, he likes to refer to him, I guess, as like slinky neck for injury proneness. But
slinky neck, I like that. That's a good one.
I mean, the year before he was in the AP Comeback Player of the Year voting, coming off an injury season. Last year, 16 and a half sacks, 83 combined tackles, 23 tackles for loss, 22 QB hits, and 4 forced fumbles. Pretty damn good. And now he's going to a better defense to play with up-and-coming young player on the Houston Texans. So a guy I had to write down how to pronounce his name because I think last time I called him Danielle Hunter. So I had to, write it out in however you call it, speech phonics so I could read this out. Danielle Hunter coming in at number 8 here for his new team, the Houston Texans. I think he's going to be a beast with them. He reminds me a little bit of Myles Garrett at times. Like their build is very similar. They're just like these jacked human beings that like are way faster than they should be. So I'm Houston's exciting. That team's got a lot going for them. So hopefully they don't underwhelm because I think there's a lot of pressure on them too. But yeah, I think he's going to thrive. We'll see what happens, but.
Yeah, it's an exciting situation. He is kind of wild if you think about it. And like looking at his numbers, like minus the nearly 2 years he missed in 2020 and 2021, he never missed a game. He's played every single game minus the 2 years he missed the football.
Yeah,
kind of wild.
His numbers are weird. I mean, he went rookie year, he went 6 sacks, then next year 12 and a half, then 7, then 14, then 14, then 6, then 10, then 16. So
the 6 came in 7 games. Yeah, that's kind of
Slinky
impressive.
neck.
Yeah, Slinky Neck came out with a vengeance, though. 6 sacks in 7 games after missing a year and a half of football. It's not bad.
Oh, I did. Yeah, 6 seconds. Yeah, that's good numbers. Yeah, good averages.
Mm.
But all right. So that was my number 8. Mike, who's your number 7?
Number 7 is going to be Josh Allen. We talked about Josh a little bit before, but I
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
absolutely.
not to cut you off, but I also have Josh Allen, number 7. Josh Allen
There we
Hines,
go.
as he's known.
Yeah, Josh Hines. No, Josh Hines Allen.
Oh,
Josh Hines.
excuse me.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
All right.
Josh Allen at number 7. Can't say enough about the guy. Contract year. He absolutely balled out, 16 and
Yeah,
a
he
half
did.
sacks, 20% pass rush win rate. He's definitely a star on the field. And personally, I love to see him sack Josh Allen from the Bills because I just think that
Josh
that's
Allen on
super
Josh Allen
funny.
action.
Oh, love it.
Yeah, yeah. Allen on Allen. Yeah, but I love Josh Allen. Definitely a top 10 pass rush player for sure, a pass rusher.
He's on my
That
list
I
slowly.
do appreciate like you gotta love though on like same name violence. Remember like there was a Will Smith that pitched for someone, and then there was the Will Smith catcher for the Dodgers, and I remember they went at, I think he was on the Giants. They went at each other a couple times, which was fun.
Yeah.
Um, I do have Josh Allen as well. Josh Allen is I put in the very similar phrase as Brian Burns. They were very solid players, pretty good numbers. Didn't really play for great teams most of the time or ever. And then Josh Allen had his breakout year. Like this was the year he put himself on the map, had a huge year. And this is where I get on Brian Burns. He's never had that. But I mean, say what you want, contract year or whatever, but I think Josh Allen's legit. I actually like him next to Trayvon Walker, across from Trayvon Walker next year. I
Yeah.
think that'll be a nice little duo. But yeah,
I
I'm
think the
buying in
Jags will be
the Josh
nice.
Hines out.
I think Jags will be
I mean,
quite a bit good.
it's all down to Trevor Lawrence. If the guy can just
Yeah.
hold on to the
Hold
ball,
on to
they'll
the
be all
ball.
right.
Yeah. All right.
He's
All
like
right.
a poor man's Josh Allen with his recklessness.
That's a pretty good way to describe it. Well, then, yeah, but Josh Allen's pretty reckless too. So that's
I know he just doesn't have the electricity that Josh Allen has to get away with throwing 4 interceptions in a game.
but he's got the hair.
That's true. Back to that. Now.
But this is not a QB episode, so we're not going to get into that. So Tim, it sounds like your list and my list are very, very similar, except if I cut out Hassan Reddick and move all my players down a slot, we have the same list. Because my number 7 is Aiden Hutchinson.
Oh, okay.
Which, surprising because you usually have the young guys higher than I do. But
That's true. I'm shocked by this.
I think his jump from rookie year to year 2 really impressed me. I mean, his rookie year, he came second in rookie of the year voting. Still had 9.5 sacks, it's almost the same amount of tackles. He had 52 rookie year, 51 the next year. But the jump was at 11.5 sacks. Also, wild stat: he's only played 2 years in the NFL, and he has 4 interceptions as a defensive end.
Wow, that is actually pretty insane.
Yeah.
Huh. Look
Yeah.
at that. That's something I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, here to provide knowledge for you. But yeah, I think Detroit's got a lot going for them. They got lucky with Jared Goff. I think when he got traded out of LA, he needed a fresh start, and he, I guess, felt disrespected in a way, and that helped really. They put him with good coaching, and he was able to kind of help that offense get going. And they have some good players on offense as well now. But I mean, even his PFF, he's over 90 PFF pass rush rankings, which is crazy. So,
He's legit.
yeah, his pass rush win rate is 21%, which it's almost 1/4, which is pretty damn good. So yeah, Aiden Hutchinson number 7 for me. And then it's number 6. So you got Mike.
This is gonna be funny.
God.
Say what you will. Call me a biased Eagles fan. I know he's not an Eagle anymore, but
Wow.
I really love this guy. Like this is more me being. I know that he's probably not number 6, and I totally will take responsibility for the shit that I'm gonna get for this. But I just love Hassan Reddick so much. I was so
I
happy
know.
when he came to Philly. I love that he's a Temple guy, Philly grown, homegrown guy. I was really sad to see him leave. Still
Hmm.
super salty about it. So this is my gift to Hassan Reddick, overinflating his value and putting him
Gift.
at number 6 on my list.
Oh my
Just because
god.
I can't put him any higher than that because
I
there's
mean,
absolutely
I
no way that he's
Hassan,
top 5 anymore.
he's very much lightning in a bottle. Like some games he'll be pretty quiet, and then some games he'll go off. So
That's what I'm
I don't.
saying. I
The
just
Jets
can't
defense
forget.
is pretty stacked. So
I
if he
can't forget
plays,
that Super Bowl season when we went to the Super Bowl, the season that he had, and just
yeah,
watching him come off the edge and just absolutely destroy, specifically Brock Purdy when he took his arm off the NFC
Oh, that
Championship
was
game.
nice. Yeah, that was
Those
cool.
like
hang
games
out in
like
the
that,
Louvre.
I just look back at that kind of potential that he has and the explosiveness and the power. And I love Hassan Reddick so much. Wish him all the best in New York, especially because it seems like he's not going to play. He's too busy
We'll see.
cosplaying in
We'll
Japan.
see. I
I
But
don't know
saw
how
that.
you let
Yeah, I
that
saw
you
that.
get that so bad. Like you didn't have this figured out when you traded the guy.
yeah,
I
it
mean,
doesn't make any sense.
I like Reddick a lot. I just think not even anything against him. I thought there was better. The players on my list moved up a little bit more. A lot of young guys in this list.
Yeah.
Um, but
That's
yeah, no,
probably one of the only reasons why I wouldn't include him in the top 5 is because he's a little older. In the top 6, if I wasn't so biased, is because he's older. But if he was younger, I think I'd feel comfortable putting him there. But I still love the guy.
of
Okay.
course. Hey, listen, long live Hassan Reddick. Hopefully the
Yeah,
Jets release him and he just finds his way back home.
there you go.
So this is a guy it's just insane how underrated he is. He's got to be one of the most underrated players in football. If you think about like just the last 4 years, what he's been able to put up consistently, he's just excellent. You look at his numbers, he's so good in the run game. He's got the sack numbers. He tied for second most sacks this past season with 17 and a half. And like, we all touched on Josh Allen, and Josh Allen's really good, and we both like him. We all ranked him. But Josh Allen also had 17 and a half sacks this year. But Trey Hendrickson had 17 and a half sacks, and he also had more sacks than Josh Allen every single year the last 4 seasons.
Huh?
Like I don't know if it is like everyone just thought that signing was going to be horrendous when he left the Saints after one good year, and it just hasn't washed out of people's mind. But I mean, since he's joined the Bengals, he's been great. He's been to the Pro Bowl every year. He's had 14, 8, and then 17 and a half sacks. He's really good in the run game. I mean, he's been the best player defensively on a very good Bengals team the last 3 years since he's been there. I mean, I know Burrow and Chase and Higgins and Mixon, all of them have a lot to do with how good they are. But I mean, Henderson's been the stalwart on defense, especially when Jesse Bates left. So a
Yeah.
guy that I mean, I can't believe I didn't even have him ranked on my list last year. I think he finally deserves his flowers, and that's why I went all the way from unranked to 6 this year. He's there, man. He's 17 and a half sacks this year. Like, I mean, give him another big year like that, and he's your top 3, top 5 guy. He's in there. I just it's almost maddening to think how this guy just goes under the radar so much.
Like I said, he was tough to put. I wanted to have him on. He was on my list last year for the DNs, but when we combined them, he just missed the list. So great player though. Shout out a white defensive end.
See, I don't know how you take. How does he not make your list? Like, that's just what else do you want the guy to do? 17 and a half sacks, Dakota. Like, how many more do you want? That's a lot.
I mean,
It's a lot of sacks.
that's okay. My guy coming up at number 6 had 17 and a half sacks as well. So,
See, but you know what? He had more sacks than him every single year for the last 4 years. And he's very good in the run D. I just, this is what I mean. The disrespect is just, I admit I was a disrespecter, but I've come to the light. My mind has been opened.
Oh,
I just,
I'm happy for
Trey
you.
Henderson, Trey Hendrickson is asking you, what more does he need to do? That's all he wants to know. What can he do for you?
You're doing great, sweetheart. Just, I just don't have. I don't know. I just like everyone else above him.
Is his 16 tackles for loss not enough?
I was hoping for 17.
Well, I mean, that's fair. Aren't we all? Are the 3 forced fumbles not enough? I mean, these are all top 10 numbers in the league.
Daniil Hunter at 4.
I mean, that's true. But you know what?
I mean,
Josh Allen had 2.
I like the Trey Hendrickson pick.
He's just calling you, Dakota. He's calling you. You gotta, whatever the area code of Cincinnati is, he's calling you, and he just wants to know what do I have to do? What do I have to do to feel love?
He look, I mean, not 5, 6 to 11. He could go anywhere in there, and I wouldn't argue with him. He just happens to be 11 on my list, and he happens to be 6 on your list. So
again, he's calling you. He just wants to know what does he have to do?
come on the Post-Fades and Cheesesteaks podcast, and I'll bump your score up.
I mean, it's kind of criminal to think the guy had 17.5 sacks and didn't even make the top 10 of your list. I'm just throwing that out there.
Hey, you win some, you lose some.
Sorry, Trey. I'll keep you on hold. He's got to think about it.
Put him into the message machine voicemail. All right. Anyways, my number 6. Oh, you guys keep taking all my thunder because you mentioned everybody I have so far. But Mr. Josh Hines Allen here at number 6. Like you guys said, he was the year before, had like 6 sacks. Next year leading that was into a contract year. And this past year, he really popped off. 17.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. And thank you for the stat.
I know someone else who had 17.5, but that's just
well. 66 combined tackles, made the Pro Bowl. And I think the Jags, like I said, I think they got a nice team. I think like offensively, if they can hold on to the ball, that would be ideal. Love Dougie P, obviously. But I mean, I've been a fan of Josh Hines Allen since he got in the league. I mean, I think he's the type of player that won't be affected by a contract. It won't drop off. I think he's really established himself. So I'm hoping, he was drafted 7th overall. So, you don't see a lot of edge rushers out of Kentucky, and I'm hoping he can continue to be the 17.5 sack guy. So we'll see if he outduels Trey Hendrickson. I'll have won this argument, but if he doesn't, then Tim, I'll buy you a 6-pack.
Well, he's already failed to outduel him the last 4 years, but yeah, I see where you're going with that.
I meant this. Okay, hang on. Top 5. So, like I said, I think we all have the same 5 players, but I'm curious to see where they all fall. So, rip off the Band-Aid, Mike. Who is number 5?
All right, number 5 is, I think that we're all gonna have this guy number 5. I can't imagine him being higher on your list, and if he is, I'd love to hear the argument as to why. But honestly, Dakota, this could be you. If you got some tattoos, you know what I'm saying, on your neck, all over your body, and just slicked your hair back a little bit. Max Crosby.
Not all
beating
gingers,
heart.
Not all gingers look the same. That's
okay,
crazy.
But I'm telling you, Dakota, like this Max Crosby, like in his headshot for the Raiders, I was looking at it yesterday. I'm like, he kind of looks like Dakota, like a little more handsome, I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
When I put a couple grand into my tattoos and got swollen, I grew like 12 inches.
The thing that I love about Max is that he doesn't even look super swole compared to the other edge rushers on this list. Mm-hmm. He really doesn't look like a super swole guy, but it's almost as if he has like that farm boy strength. I don't even know if he grew up on a farm, but the kind of athlete I'm talking about that just looks like super like average, athletic build, but they're just a pure athlete and they can play every sport. But no, he's a dog. He's an engine out there. He does not get tired. He plays every single snap just as hard as the previous one. He's the beating heart of that defense. And I just love his swag. I love how he, really loves the game and gives it his all out there. I think he definitely undisputed top 5 edge rusher in the league. And it's not even close.
All right. I agree, top 5. I don't have him at 5, but
I also don't have him at 5. Look at us. Right. Wow. I don't know if I like that.
Tim, we might have the same number 5 then. Who do you have at number 5?
So my number 5, I'm actually going with a former defensive player of the year.
Okay, so we have to say number 5.
Big money
Okay.
man. I'll be honest with you. I do have Crosby at 4 and then Bosa at 5. And I'll make my case this point.
Okay, I
One,
also have Crosby at 4 and Bosa at 5.
I kind of figured, but
I'm reversed with you guys.
I would say, well, one, Crosby has better numbers. He tied for the league lead in tackles for loss. He had 4 sacks more than Nick Bosa. But also, Fat Man, Bosa plays on a very good defense. Like, there is just talent all over the place.
Very good as
Hargrave's in the middle, Armstead's in the
stacked.
middle, Fred Warner's behind him, Ward is in the secondary.
Good secondary.
Like, they've got great coaches. They're usually always winning because their offense is great. Like, they are always, he's just loaded with talent all over that team.
Though.
Yeah. But like Max Crosby, like offense, defense, their whole team sucks. The whole team is terrible.
Trash.
Everyone stinks besides him. It's amazing to think that he managed to get like 14 and a half sacks on a team that rarely was ever winning a game. But even like he's really strong in the run game. I mean, 23 tackles for loss. The guy's in the backfield all the time. He just can't be blocked. And I mean, who else are you blocking? I mean, Christian Wilkins is there now, but I couldn't name you a Raiders defender besides that. He really, I mean, like, again, the guy came out of nowhere. Like, Nick Bosa was a second overall pick, came to a high-profile city, high-profile team. I think everyone expected him to be great. Max Crosby literally came from nowhere. No one knew anything about him. No one expected anything from him. He just started balling out and made a name for himself and really had to ball out extra hard to put his name on the map. But that was kind of why I had him a little bit higher. And to be honest, he really got some traction in my top 3. He was close. I really want to put Crosby in that top 3.
I think the top 3 is untouchable right now, though.
Top 3 is untouchable for sure.
Max Crosby's sniffing it. He is sniffing it, though.
He's sniffing it. It took him a lot to be able to break into the top 5, and now I think he's got a solid seat in the top 5 chamber. But he's getting there to the top 3. We'll see if anyone falls off. But similar sentiment. I got both at 5. I mean, he played all 17 games, and the year before that, he only played 16 and had 18 and a half sacks. Came 6th in MVP voting, was Defensive Player of the Year, AP Defensive First Team. And then last year he just made the Pro Bowl and had less sacks, less QB hits. Tackles were about the same, but I think he's still top 5 for sure. I just think the last year, the players ahead of him kind of cemented themselves as elite. But I mean, Bosa and Crosby are right there behind the top 3. I don't think it's like, top 3 and then they're down here. I think they're, again, sniffing the doorstep. But yeah, just a bit of a down year for a guy who's on a stacked team. Caught me off guard. So, but also weird that his brother Joey used to be in our list pretty frequently, and now he's like nowhere to be found.
He stays injured, man.
I know, but
can't stay healthy.
He's just not the same player he was a couple years ago. But Max, not much to add on Max that Tim and Mike didn't hit on, but yeah, I mean, I guess shout out, redheaded athletes. We're a dying breed. We're an endangered species out here, so glad he's putting us on the map.
Is he the best ginger in sports? Can you name another ginger?
No, I'm like, who else is trying to think?
Ginger athletes.
Another ginger athletes. I mean, the only one I honestly can think about is like Scalabrini, but he's great and all, but I don't think he's topping Max Crosby.
I mean, I don't follow soccer too much. I'm sure there's a lot of European gingers that are out there kicking the football.
Not really, to be honest. I have not come across many gingers in the game.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No,
like I said, we're like 2% of the population, so
Max Crosby seems to be the best athlete of that 2%.
Any hockey
players, like the hockey players, could be gingers.
Does anyone know where he went to college?
Oh,
I do know. I can't remember.
It's either Eastern Michigan or Eastern Washington. I want to say Michigan.
Eastern Michigan. You are correct, Tim.
It is
There you
Eastern
go,
Michigan,
Bill.
yeah.
Wow.
He's got it
Yeah.
tatted on him. He's got it. I
Oh,
don't. I think it's on his
no,
neck.
that's cheating.
I don't have it. I
Um,
don't have a picture in front of me, but I just remember looking at it at a later date or earlier date and him having it tatted. I'm like, nice.
it's also
Oh,
crazy.
oh,
He was he was taken in the fourth round, but he sorry, one second. Like he is
no, you're fine.
turning 27 to start the season, so he's still pretty young. And
It's
but
crazy
yeah,
to think that
yeah,
me and that guy are the same age. It's crazy.
yeah. I don't know about the comparison as much. I mean, I'm probably a little more handsome, but he's 6'5", 255, so he's got some he's got some girth on me.
You
I
do
was
have
gonna
that Anchorman
say,
hair, though.
yeah,
Ah,
I was gonna say it
I got
wasn't
a
Roy
better beard, probably.
Halladay. Isn't Roy Halladay a ginger? I mean, I know
R.I.P.
he's not playing anymore, but
Yeah,
No,
but
I
I
think
mean,
he.
he's
I think
dead.
yeah,
he's.
He's
obviously, yeah,
dead. Like,
yeah,
I
if
think
he
yeah,
was
I think
alive,
he's
then I
still
would allow
brutal.
it. But like, he's R.I.P.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's very
I
good.
mean, man, he really like Eastern Michigan fourth round pick goes to the Raiders, who are train wreck all the time, and he's ginger. Like you said, he had a lot to fight for. Nick Bosa comes in. Oh, my brother's Joey, second overall pick. I went to the Ohio State. Now I'm with the Niners. Yeah, I'm just me.
Oh, Blake Griffin, Andy Dalton.
Ooh, to both
Andy
of
Dalton's a good
those.
one. How
Well,
Blake Griffin?
it's
He's not a
you know it's
ginger.
he's
The
I
Red
think
Rocket.
half
You
ginger.
cannot claim Blake Griffin as a ginger. You can't have him.
Sean White. Sean White was a pretty damn good athlete,
Yeah.
former snowboarder,
Yeah.
skateboarder.
Is he still
Dale,
active?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. Um,
Dale
Yeah.
Earnhardt
Chuck
Jr. is a
Norris.
ginger.
I
Chuck
didn't know
Norris
that.
apparently is a ginger. Didn't know that.
Is he? Is he
He's
though?
not. He's not an athlete.
He's an
Is
athlete.
it
He's like a
is it
movie
bad
star.
that when I googled best ginger, it didn't like go to like person or athlete, it went to best ginger ale? Like that's how low we are on the totem pole.
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
All right.
ginger ale is pretty good.
it is pretty good. All right. Number
What
so
number are we on?
well, do you have anything to
5
say about
or
Nick?
4?
You have Nick Bosa number 4? Mike?
I do have Nick Bosa number 4. Other than,
Okay.
I mean, Tim said it. He's on a stacked defense. He's on a stacked team. You
Yeah.
know, you kind of have to answer for a lot on the field, but they also mainly have to answer for Nick Bosa. And I feel like the game plan for him this year, week after week, was just pretty good. He was getting double teamed, sometimes triple teamed. So I think that it was expected for him to have kind of a little bit of an offer year. But I still put him at number 4 over Max currently. But like you said, I mean Max Crosby, he's
They're
working his way
interchangeable.
up. I think that they're pretty interchangeable. I think Max works harder on the field and he definitely fights every snap. And Nick is just stronger, faster. Probably a little more talented. Just doesn't work as hard as Max does for every single sack or QB pressure or tackle for loss. He just puts in that extra work, which could put him a little bit higher than Nick Bosa. But yeah, interchangeable.
I'd say so. All right, so whoever we have at number 3, I think is going to tell us a lot about 1 and 2. But lead us off, Mike. Who's number 3?
All right. So number 3 was a little tough because I wasn't sure. I kept going back and forth. I'm like, I don't know if I want to put this guy at number 3 or if I want to keep this guy there. But I think that when I think about the other two, that it would be if it wasn't this guy. I'm like, you have to put the two. Well, number 1 is clear, but the other guy I think is just a little bit better and a little bit younger. So I'm gonna go ahead and put number 3, T.J. Watt, the Steelers.
Okay.
I think that
Okay.
he solidified either 2 or 3. Either one of those spots that you want to put him at, I wouldn't be mad at you. But the guy
Okay.
at 2, he's just as good. He's just a little bit younger.
All right.
But he is also a guy that you have to game plan for a lot, especially because of the year that he had previous to last year. He did have a slight decline just because of how much you have to prepare for him every single game.
Yeah.
But TJ Watt consistently putting up monster numbers, definitely put him up there, top 3. But I'm assuming that he's not number 3 for you guys. So, Tim,
No,
who's your
no.
3?
I mean, this was tough. Obviously, TJ Watt, I mean, yeah, you did touch on it. The year before he was hurt, missed some time, wasn't as effective, but I mean, the guy came back roaring thunder and like proved he is the most
Sure.
disruptor in the passing game, but like in the league. Um, this is edge rankings though. So I thought when you talk about edge, give me TJ Watt off the edge in passing plays and give me Myles Garrett as just the pure edge defender. Micah Parsons, you can make me an argument that, he's got more talent outside of the edge position, but as an edge, I took Watt and Garrett over him. So I've got Parsons at 3.
That's
I
fair.
also
Fair
have
point.
Micah Parsons at 3.
Yeah, I never want to say anything good about a Cowboy, but let's be honest, it seems more and more likely that he's going to become an Eagle, which is awesome. Looking forward to it.
He wants to be in Philly so bad.
He wants it so bad.
Hey, of all the hoopla going on in Dallas, he's probably the most likely player between Prescott and Lamb, and then the cornerback, playing on his name, who's not going to be a cap
Bland?
cut or no, not Bland.
Diggs?
Trayvon Diggs.
Yeah, Trayvon Diggs, because he already got paid, and Lamb needs to get paid. He's going to get top 3 receiver money. Dak needs to get paid. So
yeah, you would think they can't
over.
pay all 3 of them, especially because they've been terrible at that so far.
They still haven't paid Lamb, which is crazy to me. So
yeah, I mean, I agree with you there. I like Cherry is going to fumble it so bad, and I love it. I just don't see how this comes out anyway. I mean, if you dump Dak, then yeah, you could probably keep everyone, but I just don't see that happening. So Lamb will always get signed because he's the first one up. But yeah, when Micah Parsons becomes an Eagle, I am so excited for it.
Well, I mean, like you said, he is a Cowboy, and we have to face him twice a year as Eagles fans. But you do kind of want to root for him a little bit. I mean, he's from Philly, or not Philly, but he's from PA. He's from Harrisburg. Went to Penn State. He's only 25, so he's still like very much getting into his prime.
Plenty of time. 27,
and
Eagles, it'll be great.
I would be shocked. I would be shocked if he finished his career as a Cowboy. So I think he's gonna go somewhere else eventually. Hopefully Philly. So we'll see. But yeah, I think
Howie's already building the salary cap for 2027 to have it set up. It's all in motion.
Mean, that sounds good to me. But consistently good player. I mean, he's between 13 and 14 sacks all 3 years of his career. He's made Pro Bowl all 3 years. Came second in Defensive Player of the Year last year or 2 years ago. And then came third in Defensive Player of the Year voting this year. So consistently phenomenal player on the seat of the top 3 throne. But he's number 3 for me, which means TJ Watt is my number 2. Mike, it sounds like he was also your number 2.
Yeah, number 2 for me would be Parsons, but like I said,
you said sorry.
TJ Watt and Parsons, I wouldn't argue with switching them back, to 3 and 2, between 3 and 2. I just think that they're both game wreckers. And then you look at Parsons' career up to now, he's just really revolutionized that defense. And you have to know where he's at on the field every single snap. You got to know where Parsons is, because he could wreck the drive for you in an instant.
Are we at the point in TJ Watt's career where we can say that he's better than JJ Watt?
Not yet.
No. Don't disrespect JJ.
It was just a question. I didn't say I agree or disagree. It was just a question.
I think he's going to be better.
Averaging 20 sacks a game or 20 sacks a year.
Yeah. I think he's going to be better. I just don't think he's there yet.
He's still got a good bit to climb up. I mean, he's not, I wouldn't say he's really that close right now. But I mean, that's more of just the bar that JJ set. And like TJ Watt, I mean, I have TJ Watt number 2, and I'm not gonna. I think I gave, from what it sounds like, I gave him a lot more consideration number 1 than you guys did. I was really, really close. Part of it was, I mean, how many times do you hear like people defend edge rushers like, oh, the sack numbers were down this year, but the offense couldn't score. They were never in the lead. They're always losing. Teams were just running the ball. Like the Steelers couldn't score at all. Their offense was putrid. They fired the offensive coordinator in the middle of the season. Like they could not score to save their life. They were constantly losing. So you just think like, how did this guy manage 19 sacks? Or, I think it was what how do you do that when you're constantly losing? You expect that from a team that's just always passing, that's in a high scoring offense. Like Micah Parsons would make sense to have 19 sacks because the Cowboys are always slinging the ball, they score. But I like the most common excuse didn't even affect TJ Watt. His offense, his team stinks. They couldn't score. It didn't matter. I'm still getting 19 sacks. You might be throwing the ball 20% less than other teams, but I don't need that many pass attempts.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think he's a player. Like, to be an elite player, you have to be a player that every single game they have to mention that you're being double teamed, triple teamed, have to be accounted for. I mean, 19 sacks last year.
Can't sneeze on that one.
Six-time Pro Bowls, 6 Pro Bowls, 4 All Pros. It's 1 Defensive Player of the Year. So I mean, the one year, what was it, 2021, he had 22 and a half sacks. He almost beat the record. Or I think he tied it. Isn't that is the record, isn't it? Isn't that what Michael Strahan has?
I believe so. That does sound about right.
Yeah, I think 22 and a half is the record. But yeah, as long as he can stay healthy, he did play 17 games, but I think he wasn't fully there. I think he had 19 sacks, but I mean, I feel like he was still battling through some injuries during the season. So, yeah, I think pretty solid to say that he's 1 or 2 on, and I wouldn't argue if one of you said number 1, but as Kendrick Lamar once said, "Fuck the big 3, it's just big me." Myles Garrett, number 1 on my board here. Sounds like number 1 on both of yours.
I mean, like, let me just paint a picture for you. Like, it's 2 a.m.
Oh, we got another painting picture. All right, there we go.
It's 2 a.m. All right, you're walking down a dark alleyway. Who would you be more terrified to see charging at you full speed? Mm-hmm. Freddy Krueger or Myles Garrett in a crop top tank top?
I don't know why specifically a crop top, but
crop top tank top. You never seen him in that small shirt when he was like practicing on the field. Just like to paint the full picture of just like the sheer power. Does he also
have knives in his hand or something, or is it just
no? It's just him. It's just him and his power. And his intention is to kill you.
Well, I think
he would have to be wearing a mask. He's got a good smile. I'm not gonna lie.
He has a nice guy like I don't want to.
He does have a nice guy face.
Well, although he did
put a mask on him,
Mason Rudolph.
I'm shitting myself.
Chasing you with the intention to kill you, like he does these quarterbacks on a regular basis. He's terrifying.
Well, to answer your question honestly, I would probably say I'd rather go against Freddy Krueger because I feel like I could outrun him. I don't think I could outrun.
That's what I'm saying.
Garrett.
You can't outrun
Freddy Krueger.
You can't outrun Myles Garrett. You can't outpower Myles Garrett. I mean, if you get lucky, you maybe have like a 5% chance of like catching Freddy Krueger's arm, and then if you stop his knives, there's not much that he has that can kill you. But Myles Garrett, I mean, if he puts his hands on you, he can overpower you in any way.
I wasn't expecting Freddy Krueger to make it into our top 10, but always on my.
Well, Myles Garrett loves Halloween. He's like huge on Halloween. He always does big.
He is terrifying to watch because of how. I mean, he's 6'4", 270 pounds, and he is so fast, so agile. Like, you ever watch him like work his way, because he can hit you with a swim, he can hit you with a power move, but if you ever watch him like bend around a tackle, like, it's insane. Like, he's so flexible at that size and that speed. It's like you can't defend him. You really can't. You got to put like 17 people on him. But
he is the peak human evolution. That is like
Derrick Henry on defense, like not from Earth.
He was made in a lab. He looks made like in a lab. Yeah, build a human. He's had double-digit sacks every single year except for his rookie year. He is just incredible, and I love when he lines up and he does like that little like basketball move where he's like pretending to dribble, and then he just busts through the line like it's nothing.
Have you ever seen the video of him playing pickup basketball? Terrifying.
He has to stop. Doing that. He got to stop. He's too big to be on the court.
Yeah, he's a unit. He you imagine taking a charge by him,
you're going in the grave.
Getting like if you like try taking a charge on Miles Garrett, that'd be like getting hit with a refrigerator, like just
Yeah.
a fridge coming at you like 30 miles per hour, just
Yeah,
steamrolled.
yeah.
Brings me back to this Freddy Krueger thing, man. I'm telling you.
Freddy Krueger is a ginger, isn't he? Like, how
Is he?
athletic do we think Freddy
Don't
Krueger is?
know. There's
Like,
no way he's a ginger.
it would fit the whole theme of gingers.
No, I don't like that. No, thank you. We don't claim him.
But I think he's definitely top three most valuable football player just in general. Obviously you put Mahomes number one above everybody else. You could probably make an argument for somebody at number two that I can't think of right now, but I mean I can't see two more people that are more valuable, more talented, better at the game of football in general than Miles Garrett. I love watching him play. I'll tune into any Cleveland Browns game just to watch him play the game. He's so much fun to watch, and can't wait to continue watching him. He's a unit.
I'd say he's
I
one of
think
those
that's the.
players. Go ahead, Tim.
I was just say that's got to be the biggest compliment anyone can ever receive, considering how bad the Browns have been forever. Like I
Oh
will
yeah.
tune into every Cleveland Browns game because when you make that a statement, man, you really are doing something right.
Yeah. If not to watch Sean Watson just absolutely shit himself, just definitely just to watch Miles Garrett line up at the line of scrimmage and just wreck games and sack quarterbacks and just
And I
scare people. You can tell he just like puts fear into people.
he's also one of those players that he's one of those guys who you're like, well, why is he so good? If his numbers are he's not breaking record stat numbers, like no. He's a watch the tape, like tune into the game player because he wrecks the field.
He does.
He doesn't have a 22 sack, 19 sack. I mean, hell, Trey Hendrickson had 17 and a half last year, and Miles Garrett's career high is 16. But what Miles Garrett does on the field, you can't doesn't have a stat number. I mean, I'm sure there's some random percent somewhere that Pro Football Focus has, but he's just like an immovable human being that is just excellent at what he does. But yeah, 27.3 pass rush win rate, the highest in PFF history. Of all the years that they've been recording stats, that's the highest they've ever seen, which is there's been a lot of good DNs that have come through this league.
There's been quite a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he
I don't
the
think that
favorite to win the defense since the defense player of the year award's kind of become like an edge rusher award at this point with Bosa, Garrett, TJ Watt got a couple times, especially now that Aaron Donald's gone.
Yeah.
You have to think it's going to go back to this list. Is Garrett like the favorite now to repeat?
I was gonna say he won last year.
Yeah.
I think unless TJ Watt, I think it's really between him and TJ Watt. And I mean, you could sprinkle Micah in there. I mean, Max Crosby could. I mean, the Raiders got better. I think Christian Wilkins is pretty huge for them. So I mean, I don't think Crosby's going to enter, that high of a potential to take out Miles Garrett for Defensive Player of the Year. But I think Garrett, our top three, is because it's rare to see a corner win it, rare to see a safety or a linebacker. I mean, Bobby Wagner, I'm sure, is probably in the conversation, but yeah,
Not
I
at
would
this
say
point. If he hasn't got one now, it's pretty much done with that.
yeah.
Did you
Yeah, I
say
would
Bobby
say
Wagner?
yeah, or not. Oh no, not by Fred Warner. I meant.
I was gonna say
Say
what?
Bobby Wagner's generous. He's like
That's
38.
insane. Fred Warner, yeah.
Well,
Fred
I've been
Warner's
sipping
another
on,
guy.
I guess something. I don't know, but
Fred Warner's
yeah,
another
no,
guy. He's like far and away the best linebacker in football.
yeah.
Just or Bryce Huff comes out with 20 sacks this year. Could be a thing.
Bryce Huff.
Bryce
I
Huff,
mean,
sleeper. That's
I'm
a
telling you,
sleeper
man.
right there.
now that Reddick's not here, he's got
Howie
to.
just knows. He just knows how to find those up and coming, about to have a breakthrough season guys. And I think Bryce is gonna be another one of those guys.
I think Bryce is going to be like Hassan Reddick. He's a rotational pass rusher who hasn't hit his prime or really hit the production because he hasn't been given a good chance, got him at a cheap deal, and then boom, he turns into Hassan Reddick. It will be awesome when Hassan Reddick doesn't play for the Jets and Bryce Huff has 15 sacks this year.
Yep. And then on
Kind
the
of
other
feel
side, Josh Sweat has like 11 sacks.
Beautiful. Micah Parsons demands a trade to Philadelphia and only Philadelphia.
Mike, can you
It's got,
imagine?
I mean, the writing's on the wall. Like, I
No.
mean,
I
it's
mean,
there.
you clearly are imagining. So you paint the picture, Tim.
I mean, I'm just saying it's pretty much there. Like, how would you feel if, like, I
Well,
don't know,
actually,
like,
time out, time out. Since you both went Picasso on me, let me paint a picture this time.
oh, here we go.
You got Bryce Huff turned out to be a steal. You got Jalen Carter is a top 5 D tackle. You got Jordan Davis is a top 10 defensive tackle. You got cornerbacks have improved drastically. You got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson playing really well at safety. Nakobe Dean actually works out and is a solid top linebacker in the league, top 15 linebacker. And then in comes Micah Parsons to put the icing on the cake. Wouldn't that be a defense to write home about?
I mean, it's gonna happen. We just don't know. I think next year might be a little generous, but give Jerry another year or two to blow it all up, and I think we got. I just, how would you feel? Like the only equivalent I could think of to Michael Parsons with, like, star power and longevity and like what he means to the team and the city. Like, how would you feel if Lane Johnson was just showing up to, like, I don't know, like Knicks games, or just like showing up to like Knicks games or Rangers
Dallas
games, or just
Stars
anything.
games.
Yeah, anything to do with New
Dallas
York
Stars.
or the Stars. Like, I would hate it. It would be vomit inducing. It would be tough. I would have an issue.
Okay, well, I mean, yeah, but is Lane Johnson from Texas? Is that why?
I just,
That
he like fit my, he's been only with the Eagles. He's a superstar.
well, I'm
The city
sure.
loves him.
To be fair, I'm sure Micah Parsons grew up a Sixers fan. Like that one game, he was wearing a Sixers jersey. He was wearing Maxis. But
I don't care if your
if I was a
mom
Cowboys fan,
was
I'd be like,
the
"Yo, what the
coach of the
fuck, man?"
Sixers. No. That would bother me.
Yeah, that would bother me if I was a
Yeah,
Cowboys
I
fan.
remember when Jalen Hurts came out in Astros gear. He's from Houston, and
Oh,
that was the one and only time he ever did that. After that, he never you never saw
exactly.
him in Astros
Like, that's
gear
what I
again.
mean. Like, that's a perfect example. But again, never happened again. Like, Micah Parsons pretty much has season tickets at this point, and he's
Yeah,
always rocking the Sixers gear. Like, it's just so obvious. He doesn't care. Everyone knows it. Everyone sees it, and he just keeps doing it. Jalen Hurts read the room. He's like, all right, no, I'm definitely not getting away with that in Philadelphia,
no,
and
So
stopped it. And you know what? Good for you. Good for you,
waiting for
Jalen.
waiting for Micah Parsons to come to the Eagles, and we're waiting for Mike Trout to come to the Phillies. Is that what I'm hearing?
Trout, I think that boat's already left. He's happy
yeah,
with cashing his
He
checks
has a
and never making the
yep.
playoffs.
death contract in LA or Anaheim.
Never
Uh,
making the
But
playoffs, cashing his checks, hitting 40, 50 home runs, and just living
quietly,
life.
like one of a generational players, he's just like on a horrible team. He's the
Yeah,
Barry
Shohei
Sanders
saw the
of
writing on the wall. He's
baseball.
like, this could be me right here. If I stay here, I gotta fucking get out of here. Went to the Dodgers.
but some people, you look in the mirror and you're like, you know what? I'm
I'm
making
pretty fucking
$45
rich.
million a year. I'm smacking 50 home runs,
Yeah,
and I've got
life is
October
good.
off every single year. My off season starts 2 months early every year.
Yeah.
It's a hard
There you
life
go.
to turn down. It's a
He's like,
hard life
I
to
could
turn down.
I could watch some Phillies baseball, you know?
Exactly. There you go. Hey, my falls are always free, so I can always catch an Eagles game, always catch a Phillies game,
All right.
and
So I think that was a good top 10. It really wasn't. I mean, besides the Hassan placement and Trey Hendrickson beef, if you want to call that. I don't have any beef
you're
with them.
just
Tim
sleeping
just
on them. Wake up! I finally woke
We
up.
just we needed some
I
controversy,
had him
you
in my
know?
list last year for ends. I don't that's not a
Last year,
knock on him. There's just
wait, how did he get downgraded?
he didn't get downgraded. It was just a bigger pool of players because we combined ends and stand up edge rushers. So he's 11. He's right there. I mean, I don't think he's 6. I mean, 17 sacks is impressive, but I don't know.
It's just whatever.
All right. Any last thoughts, Tim or Mike?
If Micah Parsons, well, when Micah Parsons plays for the Eagles,
Okay.
assuming AJ Brown is still with us,
Mm-hmm.
what number does he wear?
Did he wear 11 in college?
Oh, wait, maybe what number is he now? Is he not 11?
He is. Yeah.
He does wear
Yeah,
11.
he's at 11. Yeah. AJ Brown's 11. This is my point. Come on, Dakota, get it together.
I was
Oh,
asking,
no.
did he wear 11 at Penn State?
Oh, I don't know.
I think he did.
Probably.
Oh, give him number
11's
one.
a obscure. Well, Jalen's number one.
That's right.
Who's 0 on the Eagles now?
Do we have
Huff.
one?
I think Huff's
Oh,
0.
is it Huff now?
I
DeAndre
think
Swift
he's
left?
0.
Because DeAndre Swift was 0.
Yeah, I think Huff took 0.
I like that. I'm a fan of 0.
I like 0, yeah.
Agent 0.
I can see
Strong,
Parsons.
no number.
He clearly likes the number 1 in some capacity.
41.
I could see a strong 12. I could see him do a 12.
I can see that.
Micah Parsons, because he's the 12th man. I mean, he's pretty much an Eagles fan. So he'll be the 12th man while being on the field.
All right. Well, we're out of time.
Quick question.
Oh,
real quick before we run out of time.
We're about to.
At the end of the 2024-2025 season, where does Bryce Huff land on this list?
Honorable mention.
Honorable mention? Okay.
I'm going to say honorable mention. Actually, he's a homer, number 9.